With the recent Second Amendment case from the Supreme Court, which came down to a 6-3 decision, ultimately said that Americans not only have the right to own a gun, but they have the right to carry a gun outside their home. And this has been against many state laws. So we want to take a moment and talk about the sheer volume of people in America who have been freed by this. I mean, we're still dealing with a lot of doubling down by states and counties and cities trying to take away our Second Amendment rights. But ultimately, according to the Supreme Court, 1/4 of Americans who did not have Second Amendment rights last year now have those rights. 1/4 of Americans is significant because you're looking at California, New York, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, all now have to allow Americans to carry outside their home when they weren't allowed to only a year ago. This is a significant number because a lot of times when people watch these videos, they comment that, well, why would you live in those states, or, that kind of thing. But these people, these are their homes. And we're not talking about a few Americans. We're talking about 1/4 of the US population did not have the right to carry outside their home just a few months ago, and now they do. Now, I do want to take a moment and kind of talk about the states doubling down, because as soon as the Supreme Court made this decision, as we all saw, it feels almost like we have less Second Amendment rights than we did before this decision, because they're doubling down on these anti-Second Amendment efforts. But what you're going to see is these anti-Second Amendment efforts are slowly being whittled away by the lower federal courts, the district courts, and they're being successful at it. So 1/4 of Americans is a big number. And I think this should kind of open everybody's eyes to this idea. When I live in Missouri, I don't worry about my Second Amendment rights. But I realize that 1/4 of Americans, you're talking tens of millions of people that did not have a Second Amendment right just a year ago that now do. And this is a big deal, and we kind of need to open our eyes to the Americans who are being suppressed, because it's not that easy just to move. These are their homes. So these decisions are extremely important. And again, as the lower courts kind of whittle away at this, it's a beautiful thing to see, and we kind of need to take a moment and really be thankful that many Americans who did not have that right just a few months ago finally do. If you live in one of those states, I'd be very curious what this looks like. Is it harder to get your rights now, or is it easier? Put those comments below. I also want to take a moment and say most people that watch this channel are not subscribers to this channel. Please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. Greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get this message out.